Hello.
Hi, Claire. We're going to start the meeting now. So if you're able just to mute just until just as we're going forward, that'd be great. Thank you. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Southern Rural Community Forum. So just before we do start going into the agenda, just to let you know, this meeting is being recording and the recording will be available both on the Council's YouTube channel and also as part of the Council's ModGov site, along with the other documents of the meeting. Just to say about the microphones, you do have to I know councillors, you'll know this, but select to speak. We do have another community partnership officer, Becca, here with us today, that will be kind of controlling the microphones that end. So we're all kind of new a little bit still to this. We've done it a couple of times, so please be patient. It was a little bit of a delay between microphones. Also, just to say, anytime, please take teas and coffees. So before the meeting starts, also, we'll just take a little roll call of those attending online just to make sure we can hear them. So I believe we've got Councillor Strong online. Are you able just to say hello, Claire, for us? Just make sure we can hear you. You'll just mute. Oh,
Sorry, I couldn't find me on mute. Yes, good evening, everybody.
brilliant. Thank you. And I believe we've got Councillor Skeggs as well. Are you able to just unmute just to say hello and make sure we can hear you on our end?
Hello.
Hello, thank you very much. Is anyone else online at all? Brilliant, thank you very much. Okay, so first on the agenda is to elect the chair for the Southern Rural Forum for the civic year 25 to 26. So first thing we're going to do is ask for any nominations. Oh, sorry, yeah, it's taking nominations, but yeah, so Ralph?
Yeah. I would like to nominate Councillor Graziano for Chair of Southern Rural.
Thank you. Have we got a proposer? Thank you, Councillor Patmore. Are there any further nominations? Councillor Peace
To nominate Councillor Dominic Griffiths.
is nominating Councillor. Thank you. Are there any seconders for that?
I'll second Councillor Griffiths. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ward. Right, are there any other nominations before we start for chair? Okay, thank you. If you can please raise your hand in favour of Councillor Graziano for chair. So we have 4 in the room. And I believe that's Claire. Sorry, is that you from Claire as well? Perfect. Thank you. And can you raise your hand in favour of Dominic Griffiths, please? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 as well. This is perfect. Thank you. So that's a tie. Sorry, let me just write this down. Okay, that is a tie. So that will have to go to the next Southern Rural Forum for a decision. We're now going to, what we'll have to do is we'll have to do a chair and elect a chair for this meeting today. That doesn't mean going forward that it will be a chair for the whole of the civic year, but we do need a chair for this meeting, and then we can go on to the vote for the rest of the civic year following on from that. Yes, Ralph.
Well, on the basis that the two candidates that have been nominated, Councillor Graziano is the only one here, may I propose that he is the chair for this meeting of the Southern Rural Forum?
Are there any other nominations for chair for today? Oh, seconder. Thank you, Ralph. This is what I need. Councillor Patmore for seconder. Right, are there any other nominations for chair for this meeting? Okay, thank you. So there are no further chairs. So, let's call you Mr. then. So Graziano, if we give a second just to change you over, sit up here for the meeting. So online, sorry, there'll be a little bit of a pause, and then we'll come back in a second.
Right, good evening. Thank you. Apologies for absence. Okay, thank you. Welcome to Southern Rural, an opportunity for the local community to be more involved and influence the work of North Arts Council members and officers. I'd like to welcome everyone, members and officers, and members of the public to this hybrid meeting of Southern Rural Community Forum. It's not a formal meeting, so relax. The council meeting and the public are allowed to speak and ask questions. Please raise your hand if you can and say your name and who you are, and then you'll be invited to speak. For those online, please raise your hand virtually with the option on screen. You may wish to speak and remain muted until your turn to speak. We are receiving presentations from the community today, seeking grant funding. Councillors will be voting to make recommendations to the executive member for community partnerships. Community Partnership Officer will clearly state the result of the vote, and the chair will proceed to the next agenda item. In the event of a tied vote, the chair will have the casting vote. Members are reminded to make declarations of interest before an item. They may wish to abstain from voting if they have an interest, but they are merely making recommendations and not decisions. Are there any questions before we start the meeting? There's no questions. Okay. Can I invite the Community Partnerships Officer to update members on the budgets, please?
Thank you. So on the community forum report as outlined, nope, sorry, you can't.
Do we not elect a vice chair? Because
that's the agenda.
yeah,
The chair, you can't elect the chair, but still have the vice chair on the agenda.
Yeah,
But you haven't elected the chair.
I think we
They don't
can. So I
follow-
think you can. So this is not my specialty.
Proposed chair and vice chair being elected at the next meeting.
Well, the chair's already happened for the agenda item. I think it is the fact that it was on the agenda item, which is what needed. It's the chair for the whole year, I believe. We'll carry out a chair for the vice chair. Vote for the vice chair. On the agenda. Can you turn me off? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Right, me on then. Okay, so sorry, going back to agenda item 2, we will vote in a vice chair for the civic year 25 to 26. Can I have nominations for vice chair? Well, it's on the agenda item for the year, civic year. I don't know. Yeah, I think for this meeting.
And it can't make for this meeting, it has to be taken to
I honestly do not. I don't know. You need a chair for the meeting. That's the main.
This is election chair, election vice chair, and then so on. So you weren't able to elect a chair for the year, but we did say you would elect a chair for the meeting, and that chair then proceeds with the agenda as outlined.
Yeah.
Next item on the agenda is the election of a vice chair. There's no constitutional reason why you can't carry on the appointments as required. I just think it's broken. Well, for what reason? Because you don't like it then. The two are separate though.
It's part of the agenda. I'm not advising. This is something that I've been given by further other committee services and things.
Had to take a minute break and try to contact James Lovegrove and get
I think that might be best.
we're not in a.
Elect a vice chair just for tonight's proceedings, maybe.
Yeah, we'll still have to
Take-
look
take
at
a
that.
re- Yeah.
What-
Chair, therefore we not need vice chair. And I would suggest if that's good enough for full council.
There were 2 votes. There was one for chair and one for vice chair as well, I believe, on there. But we'll take a small break online. We're just going to have a small break and then we'll be back online in a couple minutes. Thank you.
Hello, thank you for returning. We're now going to resume. So as chair for tonight's meeting, I'm deferring agenda item number 2 to the next meeting. Can I ask the Community Partnerships Officer to update members on budgets?
Thank you. So on the Community Forum report, as outlined in Appendix 1, the community grant budget available is £15,000. The total amount of funding requested for this meeting is £2,198. If the applications outlined in Appendices 2 and 3 are recommended and approved, there would be £12,802 left for the remainder of the financial year 25 to 26.
Can I now invite Kay Wyatt and Beryl Whiting, I hope I've pronounced that correctly, from the Purton Community Choir to present. There is a 5-minute presentation and then question and answers, 5 minutes at the end.
Hi there. So my name's Kate Wyatt and I'm from Purton Community Choir. I was one of the original members of the choir that was set up in around 2023. And over the last year or so, our members have grown hugely, not just from Purton, but from surrounding villages. And as you see in the report, we just need a little bit of help with buying some new equipment. We need to purchase things like a keyboard, microphones, piano stool, that kind of thing. We have a fabulous musical director called Heather Fuller, and she makes the choir a great fun time. She's so enthusiastic. We've got about 48 paying members now in the choir, and we have started charging. I'm just having a look for the amounts. So we're charging £7.50 a month for members, which, as choirs go, is extremely reasonable. Most of the choirs are a lot more than that. So we think, it's a very good value. It's really a very inclusive choir. We've got a range of ages in the choir. And as I said, they're not just from Purton, the surrounding villages, that we're able to join the choir has, been a great thing to the choir. And it's added, really good, what's the word?
Community
Yeah.
spirit.
Really great community.
It's very inclusive. We don't have any auditions. Anyone can join. They just need to have a love of singing, and we just welcome them with open arms. I think what I would say is it's a choir, but it's not just about the singing. It's probably above that is about community spirit. It's about coming together. Some of these people, they're a little bit older and they really don't get out very much, and they can walk to this. We always have a little tea break, which is important because people get time to chat and we support each other. I think it's the most, and I was new to the area and I wanted to get to meet people, and I joined, and it's just, I have never looked back. It's just fantastic. And we've got our first big concert in the village hall. You're all welcome to come. Find us on Facebook. And we just love singing. We love being together.
Yeah, we all have so much fun, and it's not just about the singing. The singing obviously is a great thing to be part of, but the community feel. We have social events. We often end up in the pub in the village after choir practice, which is always really great fun. We arrange social events. We have new members evenings, and we're advertising a lot on Facebook and Instagram, trying to sort of open the choir up to the wider community, and trying to involve people in rural communities. I think that's one thing that's really great about the choir, being so inclusive. Do you want to add anything else?
I think just to say that the reason for needing this equipment, we don't have anything. We just begged and borrowed bits and pieces. We don't have anything of our own, and we want to step outside of just being we sing in the church. Our concerts in the village hall, and we need a high quality piece of equipment, a piano and the PA speakers. We're going to be also performing at the summer fair, and we also performed at May Day, but we're cobbling things together, and they belong to someone else. And we just feel like now we're much better established. We're getting on for 50 paying members, and we feel like we've grown up now, and we would like our own quality equipment. And I would say that Heather, our musical director, and Kate and myself, we took a day out and we went to a music shop in Cambridge called Miller's Music, and we spent a good half day there researching what we were going to buy. And it was we were very pleased that we did, because we'd been looking online, as people do, and the gentleman there advised us to be very careful, because you can buy like a keyboard online for what looks like a good price, and he said he gets sent them, people bring them in and say it's broken, can you fix it? He said no, it's one complete unit, I cannot do anything with it. So that was a real lesson to us. So we might be spending a little bit more than we thought we would, but we'll have something that's got longevity, and we felt that that was really important. So I want you to know that we did
Done a lot of research.
we did do our research.
Thank you very much. So I've got a question already from Claire Strong.
Actually, Joe, it's not actually a question. I just wanted to endorse everything they've said, and also declare an interest, because I am a member of the choir. So it's lovely to see you, ladies. I'm sorry I've not been in choir practice, but you know where I'm being, because I'm having my hip replaced. But because of that, obviously, I will abstain when you come to your vote. But I would endorse everything that they've said. It's a great vibe in the church for everybody coming together. The expenses of the choir, because they've very ambitiously decided to do a programme which is musical shows. So to be able to have all the scores of music does actually cost the choir quite a bit of money. So that's a lot of what our fees are going on. But we do need to be able to go out and about, to have a decent piece of equipment to go along and sing. And I'm sure some of the members, you might have noticed that the choir, we were singing in the square, Hitchens Square, because they had it was National Piano Day. It was an absolutely fun event. But anyway, and I do hope the committee that you will support, but I will have to say I will have to abstain because I have an interest.
Thank you, Claire. Next to speak, David Barnard, and then I'll come to Paul.
Thank you, Chair. I met the members of the choir just before Christmas last year, when I was privileged to take Santa Claus to a local event. And immediately it was obvious that they were a very, very happy group, but not only a very happy group, but they were very accomplished. And as such, they're a great community group. They bring pleasure to not only their membership, but across the wider community. It brings benefits to everybody, and for that reason I believe it ticks absolutely every box that we look for in our grant aid, and I certainly hope that the membership here will fully support their application. Thank you.
Thanks, David. Paul?
Yeah, no, thanks, Chair. I was just wondering, there's quite a successful community choir in Nebworth as well, which you may or may not know or have connections to. I was just wondering, they work quite well with the parish council to get various forms of support for it. Have you worked and approached the Purton Parish Council as well, and just to try and help? Not instead of, but I mean, just
No, we
more
haven't.
funding.
Not the parish council. We had some a small grant from the Pumpkin Club, which is in the village, and they run different events which we've been to. They had like the May Day celebration, and we performed at that event, but not specifically with the parish council.
No, it's good. No, this is great. I was just thinking it might be into
But,
other
yeah,
places you can
absolutely,
go to
other
get more
avenue.
funding.
Thank
So-
you.
David.
Can come back, Chair. Thank you very much. I, as the county councillor for the area, have this evening pledged a sum of money to support the community choir, because it is ongoing. The price of sheet music, for instance, is very high, so it's something that certainly they're always going to be needing some sort of funds. And I've also asked them to communicate with Laura to look for funds elsewhere, such as the London Luton Airport Community Fund, etc. So it's a good thing.
Okay, thank you, David. Dominic.
Thank you, Chair. That's really interesting, Councillor Barnard. Are you allowed to or able to tell us how much you've contributed from your council allowance?
Nope.
Fine.
Do we have any other questions before we proceed to the vote? Okay, this is for Purton Community Choir for the sum of £1,073. I'd like to ask you whether you wish to recommend grant funding to be awarded to the applicant. Are we raising hands?
I need a proposer and a seconder.
Right, I need a proposer, please. David, and a seconder. Thank you, Steve. Can we proceed to the vote? Please raise your hands if you'd like to vote in favour. We need to capture that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8. 8. Okay.
And your vote?
Oh yeah, me too.
No, you don't have to vote.
Oh, I don't have to vote. Well, no, I'm going to vote.
You can choose.
I'm going to vote. Yeah, I'm voting.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Right, thank you very much. That concludes the vote. That will be submitted to.
So then the next process will. Yeah. Just. Sorry, don't worry.
Laura, can you just remind the Purton Community Choir not to spend the money until the executive member has approved it?
Well, I'm happy with that. Even if we remove David from the vote, it's still going to go through. Okay.
That's fine.
Thank you.
But did you get the comment I made, Joe? Can you remind those that are successful that they can't spend the money until the executive member has approved it? Otherwise, it will be a retrospective grant.
I think I've stated that already, Claire. Thank you. Not to spend any money, please, until it gets approved by council. Thank you. Can I proceed?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I invite Gary Ewington and Tommy, I think it's just Gary tonight, from Whitwell 25 Football Club to present. You've got 5 minutes with a question and answer session at the end. Over to you.
Hiya. A long time ago, we tried to get a team up at Whitwell about 20 years ago, which failed through because we didn't have the sponsorship and everything like that. Well, time ticked on, and all of a sudden we got a team up, and then it folded because we couldn't carry on because of the money situation. It's quite expensive to run a football club with all the medical kits and stuff like that. But as it goes at the moment, we've all come together, all the local boys from Whitwell who used to play and also managed them. We've all come together, and it's time that we got a team up again after 12 years of Whitwell not having an adults team. So I've come here to ask for some help, and also with the running of the cost of a club is quite expensive. We have got 20 members on board at the moment. We've also got the equipment which was supplied by the Henry Smith Foundation, and also we have inherited now a sponsor to pay for the football kit and things like that. But we also need to also pay for the pavilion and the hire of the pitch and things like that. But at the end of the day, it's something what the community need. We do support the Bull as well after games. And basically that's about it, really. I don't think I could drag it out for 5 minutes, but that's about it, really.
Okay, thank you, Gary. Right, any questions and answers, please? Councillor VJ.
Sounds great. Sports clubs, especially community sports clubs at the grassroots, think they do much more than just the sport, as you're alluding to.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, how many games are you planning in the league? Will there be per week, and then filter into the pitch hire, I suppose?
You're looking at roughly 20 games plus games a season, because you've got your friendlies, you have like your cup matches, you have your league games, and it depends on how many, because we've applied to go into the Hitchin Sunday League, the local league, because they're struggling for teams. And this is what we've been doing, is getting like the local lads back in who used to live in Whitwell, who moved out because they couldn't afford to stay there. They're all coming back to play for their village, what they grew up in, which I think is brilliant.
Yeah.
And it's the help we need. If we're not going to get the help, we can't do this sort of thing.
So it's about 60 to 70 pounds per game.
Yeah.
Effectively, that this is going to. It's not a lot, really.
It's
But it does a lot.
And not only that, we're not going to rip the players off. You know, we've kept it a reasonable price, so that an affordable price, because they're in the town here now and they've got to travel to Whitwell to play. You know, it's petrol and stuff like that. So we've kept it at a low cost to get that facilities and that used, and to get football back in Whitwell.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you, VJ. Dominic.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you very much for coming to talk to us. Are you seeking any other avenues of funding?
Yeah, we're going to be doing selling coffees, bacon rolls, all sorts, you know, in the morning, which would be good. And also we'll be selling football cards. Like we leave one down the pub and like £1 to go, winner wins 20 quid. 20 quid goes into that'll probably pay for us to get the kit washed.
Okay.
So it's just continuous money, but we've tried to keep it really low for.
Have you looked at any local sponsors?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they will not sign up until it's fully up and going. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Dominic. Louise.
Question, but I'm going to look that way. Sorry. Who do you pay monies to for the hire of the recreation pavilion? Is that to a parish council?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
David.
Right. Okay. Thank you. I will declare an interest in the fact that I have this evening confirmed that I have given a very small grant from my very small budget from the county council to or at least I have approved it. It has to be confirmed at County Hall, of course. For those who haven't read their agenda, it does actually give the contributions that they have already secured. And for the £787 from the Henry Smith charity is in fact controlled by the parish council, and so therefore that is the way that the parish council apportioned their grants within the village. So yes, they have got something from the parish council in that manner, but although I will not vote, I would urge everybody else to support it. This is like the Purton Community Choir with boots on.
Thank you, David, and for declaring that interest as well. I was going to ask the question.
Cheerleaders.
I've got. Go on.
If it's being paid to the parish council, is there any conflict about us funding? Is there any issues with us funding something that's going back into a parish council that's being funded also by aspects of council tax funding?
So we do fund, so parish councils have applied and got funding through that, so that is fine. It's not, there's no sort of back and forth about it. So we have funded parish councils through grant applications from this forum itself. So by the fact that it's going sort of through to the parish council at the end, there's no sort of conflict there.
Paul.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm looking back to say anybody can hear the thousands of people on YouTube. Yeah, no, it's reading. It's very interesting. You're talking about obviously starting the men's team with the potentially women's and senior teams. Have you? What are you looking into youth? That's a huge, in Nebworth, that's a huge driver of interest for the other teams as well.
Yeah, well, there is a big youth policy over there. I think they've got about between 65 and 100 children over there at the moment, and that's what we want to do, is get a men's team so they've got something, and hopefully next year we can get a reserve side as well, so they've got something to reach for or go for, and hopefully we can keep them all in a nice tight unit.
Yeah, I was going to say, so obvious.
Yeah,
feeder.
Yeah, just a feeder. Yeah, and also we're like people, we're looking into getting a ladies team as well, which they need, which will be good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? So before we go to the vote to recommend grant funding to be awarded, I'd like a proposer. I'd like to propose this. Can I have a seconder, please? Stephen, thank you. So please raise your hand if you'd like to recommend grant funding for the sum of £1,125 to Whitwell 25 Football Club. Thank you. That will go forward to the executive. Please don't spend any money until the executive have said you can. I'm sure Laura will fill you in with that. Thank you. Okay, we now have a presentation and a bin collection update and what's changing. So can I invite Councillor Amy Allen, Executive Member for Environment, to present?
I'm afraid you don't have a presentation because that was supposed to be Louise, but this was the only one she couldn't make it to. So I'm very sorry about that. I am happy to give a general update and just answer questions. As all of you know, the contract changes started from May. The service changes will be starting in August. The bin deliveries have been going out for people that are getting their new paper and cardboard bins. They've been steadily arriving, and we've also been having households receiving the sacks that they'll be using instead of the additional bin because they don't have the correct access or necessary, and they meet the, excuse me, I should get my words out properly. They meet the requirements of needing a sack rather than a bin. There we go. I don't want to just sit here and cover lots and lots of old ground, so I was just going to jump in and see if anyone had any actual questions that they needed answering. Then I'll jump on at once.
Yeah, I've got some questions. Obviously, I'd like to ask a question too, Amy, but I'll park myself to the end. Paul.
Just it's a question around what to do about missing stickers that have come. So the new bins that have been arriving in Nebworth over the last few weeks. Most of them, I haven't got the statistics, but certainly quite a few of them have come without firstly without the stickers on that say "do not use."
Right.
But probably more importantly, the stickers inside that are for the old bin. I think the green sticker that goes on that says the old grey bin is for recycling. Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know how many there are, and I'm happy to figure out a way with the officers to work out how to make them available. But we probably need a solution for people that didn't get the stickers. They're going to need them, and I would have thought it's probably inefficient that everybody writes in. So I don't know if there's a bulk way we can do it or make them available, maybe through the parish council. Jodie's here as well, or some means to do that. That's something that would be helpful to follow up on.
Thank you for letting me know. I really appreciate that. So we've got entire streets that haven't had the stickers come with their bins. The envelope that's taped down on top underneath "do not use" till August.
Yeah, I couldn't prove it's entire streets, but certainly where I live, I didn't get one. My neighbours didn't get one. Other people have told me sporadically throughout the village that they haven't got them, but I've seen plenty that have too. So I don't know whether it's how it's been, whether it's certain streets or whatever, but quite a few people haven't got the stickers.
Okay. So I would assume that would be an operational issue. A whole load went out that didn't get the things taped on, because I got my bin with mine. So there's obviously, it looks like there's a cluster that had them missing. So I shall flag that up with officers and the crews. And then, yes, so a really helpful thing would be to know generally what streets have not had that. Because it might be a case, it'd be better or easier for us to do like a blanket delivery of stickers, as opposed to try and picking out a few houses that have ended up with a stickerless bin.
Okay,
if that's all right. Yeah, so
yeah, I've tried
have an idea of where
I did tell the team at the time that I hadn't got one, and I'd heard about it, and I know they said they were trying to rectify that with the subsequent deliveries, but I don't know where's been missed.
So they've been alerted. What I can do is I can find out the status of that process, so that we don't end up sending people 2 lots of stickers, none, and then 2 turn up at once.
Yeah.
But I can then just go and find that out, and then get back to you, Paul. But thank you for bringing it up.
Louise.
Thank you. So obviously there's a massive communications job going on here. And I understand that the council was recruiting for a comms officer specifically for the waste changes. Did that person get appointed? Did we find anybody?
Yes. And in my typical brain, I have completely forgotten her name. It is because she was working with the under Councillor Tamsin Thomas portfolio, which at the time was called the Arts and Culture, because we've all changed now, haven't we? Yes, the post has been filled, and we are going through a process. I have a comms plan here, she says, with the joy of it not loading. So we've got a comms plan in place up until August, and then after that it's going to be, because the service change starts, and then we'll be going on from there of what we want to do. I've got some personal things that I'd like to do that involve maybe going to schools and encouraging recycling and things like that. Main thing, though, we need to get good comms and communications out to our residents. We have had literature going out, we've had the leaflets going out, we've had the people who sign up for the newsletters in via email, so it's been going out digitally as well there. We've been putting it on social media, and of course there should have been the information going out with the new bins, but unfortunately it would appear that, as has been highlighted to me tonight, that some of those bins have not been getting their stickers and information. So we'll chase that up as well, because that's obviously an additional part of our comms plan that it would appear we've got a chunk of it missing. So yes, all key and information we really need to know, so thank you.
Thank you. Vijay.
Thanks, Chair. Just during the transition and handover to the service actually going live in August, or are you aware of any potential disruption in that handover, so information not being from one platform to the other transferred effectively? Because I know that residents have said to me there's delays in other aspects of the waste service management that the team does that have just been prolonged, and I understand some of that's due to this handover.
Yeah.
And is that something that should be communicated to residents as well?
Sorry, there's a few people that can't hear you.
Speaking of so yeah, so just is that something that's happening? Are you aware of it? Are officers aware of it? And is it something that should be communicated to residents that there might be more delays to other services adjacent to during this period, so people aren't getting angry?
Yeah. So so you're asking me embedded the changes as they're embedding in and the changes to platform because we're moving in-house on the IT. Is that
Yeah,
and all the other aspects of
and
it?
all
Okay.
the other service aspects associated with waste management as
Yeah.
well. So case reported by residents
Mhm.
about things happening in their area, they've come to us, so in Great Ashby, they've come to us and said it's just not being actioned.
Mhm.
And when we followed up with officers, they've said, well, they can't find the case reference number due to a transition of the platform.
Yeah.
So it's something that perhaps needs a bit more highlighting.
Yes. So as we've moved over to the outsourced and moving it to in-house, we've also changed the actual IT platform that we use. And the process of doing that, we've had to do that from May because we couldn't really do it in advance. So we've had to, with the contract changeover, then straight into that. And it's one of those things where we've had to hit the ground running with it and work with it as we've got it and then work out the issues as we come across it. One of the things that has been an issue is things like the forms that people fill in to report things or to request changes or something different in a service. Like, for example, people wanting to apply for a larger bin or to remain on 2 weekly because of their setup at home with regards to the fact they need the more capacity, and whichever one of those options for them is most suitable is almost or set for their household is the one that they would go for. These forms are quite long and complicated, and embedding them into systems has taken longer than we expected. But again, it's one of those things where you don't necessarily find it out until you actually get started with it. So we are aware of this, and it's something we are working with. Something else that we're doing is that when we have had people reaching out to us on the emails, is a good thing to alert it to the officers, of which councillors have a direct contact with the email address that you have for the waste and recycling team, and you can flag it with them with the details, and then they can work on actioning that. I've just been going through my emails tonight and found that someone's application to be their choice to stay on 2 weekly because of their setup at home is being actioned through contacting the correct officer and then have it processed through that. So yeah, there are elements of it that are still feeling a bit clunky, but we are working through to get it into a smooth process. We expected some issues. We expected a few sticky moments, and we're coming across them as they happen and working through them as best we can. But yeah, the process to switch over and everything has been a humongous task. And there are still the options to log a situation online. There's the customer portal. They can contact councillors, which is part of our role, and then to flag this up, you can flag it up with me and then I can flag it up with officers, or you can flag it up directly with the team. You don't have to don't have to contact me at all if you don't want to. Yes, keeping people updated. So again, we have social media. Again, we have those who have subscribed to emails. They can, we can sort out sending out updates. Obviously, there's the slightly slower, and it's only the information that we can put out at the time. But there's the when we sent the Outlook magazine out, we had lots of updates and details in there, including things like the numbers you could call to log things. But yeah, it's the process. It's the beginning of the contract, it's the beginning of the service change, it's the beginning of some big changes, and it's also an entirely new contractor, as well as the changes of bringing everything in-house and having an entirely new system to work with as well. So there's lots and lots and lots of things to work through, but we really appreciate everybody's patience and everyone updating us when there's an issue and bringing it to our attention as well. That's really key.
Yeah, thanks so much, Jamie. It is a massive logistical operation. And even you describing it is showing, and it will take time. It's just making sure we can tell residents, yeah, this is the reason, but it will get, as soon as it beds in, it'll be totally fine.
I'll find out. I'll tell you.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Ralph?
Thanks, Chair. I mean, when obviously litter bins started being removed from communities, there was concern amongst residents and sort of parish councils that this wasn't really communicated. Could I just ask what communication has taken place subsequently with parish councils to ensure that actually they're prepared for this change and that they're equipped to address and deal with any residents' concerns which may come to them?
every single parish council clerk's email address that we have was contacted, and the opportunity to register or provide contact details was offered as well. And we can't talk to people if we don't have their contact details. So obviously we've been relying on councillors as well to, that's, personal email addresses, David, not necessarily, that sort of thing. But, and also we've been relying on councillors to contact us too, to say if communication hasn't come through. So that's what's been really key. That's why we've been really open to anything that you bring us to say, to work with the parish councillors, so that we can then have that contact and communicate and formulate a plan and work with people when something arises. And again, we also get lots and lots of emails come through. We get and then we do our best to get back to, whilst also trying to roll out what is going on here as well. I understand there have been some snagging issues with the wrong bin being taken away in a couple of places, and I have seen those emails, and it's a case of things will get switched back as soon as we get the opportunity to do so, whilst also trying to provide the service of which as continually as it is, as well as dealing with all of these teething issues and snagging issues which we expected to happen. We just didn't know exactly what in its entirety. There you go.
Great stuff. Thank you.
I've got Claire online.
You're on mute, Claire.
You're muted, Claire.
I thought somebody keeps muting me, she says, looking at one of the officers. I keep taking myself off. Anyway, good evening, Amy. And I understand that this is absolutely a tremendous project and a huge piece of work. And I can say I've already now got my nice new shiny bin with its blue lid ready to put my waste paper and card in. However, going around the areas, how do residents actually know that they should have ever received a bin if they were delivered one of the nice new shiny bins? Is there anywhere online that you can say, we've done all of this place, we've done all these streets, we've done all this particular areas? Because one of the key issues we had when we rolled the last contract and we had the bins and waste collections was that there are in the rural areas, there are some very sort of unknown addresses down little lanes and up little tracks. And it's just knowing that all those properties are going to get their new shiny bin. But how would they know that if they were missed? And if they are missed, I mean, obviously there's still time now for them to be able to get one of those bins. But if they don't get a bin, when the new service starts, they won't have, they'll still be putting maybe a card in with the recyclables, which is, I assume, something that you do not want to happen.
Thanks, Claire. Thank you, Councillor Strong. So what we obviously don't want is for the recycling in the glass, plastics, metal to be contaminated by cardboard from the 4th of August. You're absolutely right. If there are houses that have been missed, that are sort of out of the way, they don't have maybe the visual of seeing that everyone else in their street got a bin and then they didn't, then that would be, everyone should have received their bin by the end of July. If you still haven't got your bin by the end of July, then you need to flag it up with your councillor, flag it up with me, flag it up with the waste team, or ring the customer service number that is available for when you want to report missed bins, in which case this will be a literal missed bin because it hasn't been delivered.
But will you be doing comms that says we've now delivered all the bins to Offley, for example? So if you haven't got a black bin with a blue lid, please get in touch and we'll get one to you. Are you doing that sort of comms?
I mean, I'd hope so, but if it's a great idea if we aren't. So I will.
Perhaps you could take that away and check.
Yeah.
Because I'm just just in my mind, and again on some of the streets, people have got to notice that all their neighbours have got one. But if they didn't drop a sufficient number of bins on that street, then it could be that when everybody puts them around the back, there are somebody hasn't got a bin. And again, we've got to have a mechanism where we can get the public to come back to us and say, hey, somebody's either nicked my bin or didn't give me a bin and I need a bin, so that we can get them those bins before we start in August.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good idea. And if we aren't doing it already, we should. But yes, something out there to go, we have delivered everything in X area, etc. Because we are delivering them in chunks.
Yeah.
Along with the rounds as best we can, and they are mostly being delivered in lines with the rounds as well, so they can keep on top of exactly what street has had what. But yes, if people haven't had their bin, they need to flag it up, because if by sort of mid towards the end of July you still haven't got it, we need to know, because that's obviously going to be an issue. But yeah, I can tell them it was Councillor Strong's idea if we aren't doing it already, which would surprise me if we're not doing something to alert areas of what we've done. But there's yeah, no, thank you very much for bringing that up. And
Well, it's just I haven't seen any comms coming out that says, you know, these particular areas are all should have been completed. And so I'm thinking, are you going to be doing it? Because yeah, okay, we started into June. And I know your target is to get everything delivered by, you said, by the end of July. The earlier the better, would obviously.
At the minute, we're mostly just doing comms that the bins are going out. Keep an eye out for its arrival. And the general idea is, if you still haven't got it by mid-July, that you might want to call up and find out. They should be. If I was able to load up my thing, I'd actually be able to give the answer of when we expect to have had all the blue lidded bins delivered by. So obviously we don't want people to miss out. They can contact the local councillor if they haven't had their bin yet, or if maybe it's just a case of that street hasn't been delivered yet. But at the moment, it's just a case of the bins are going out. Keep an eye out for it, and then we can be doing maybe some more targeted stuff if we aren't doing that already anyway.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Claire. Thanks, Amy. David.
Yeah, thanks. Just a silly little one, perhaps. The letters were attached to the new bins when they were put out, and it was just paper. But I notice as I go around in my profession that there are many of these that are still attached to the bins, and obviously the weather has taken its toll on them. I'm wondering, is there going to be a reminder a couple of weeks beforehand or whatever stuck to the bins, or are there any plans to remind people?
I'm so sorry, Dave. Remind them of
the envelopes which were attached to the tops were in paper. In retrospect, it might have been an idea to have a non-permeable membrane, but as I go around in my profession, I see lots of these bins with the letters attached to them, and the weather has taken its toll on them, and they're probably unreadable now. I'm wondering if there is any plan at all to just remind people, maybe across the board, or maybe by a follow-up sticker or something like that, maybe in the middle of July, that it is going to happen, because some of those will not have been read.
So the stickers should be weatherproof, the ones in the envelopes, even if the envelopes aren't. Reminders wise of what and when, the tape on the bin in bright yellow says do not use until August. So that would be a reminder that's when the service starts. As far as the information inside as well, we've had leaflets have gone out with council tax bills. We've had leaflets go out digitally. There's been reminder after reminder that has gone out, be it in a magazine, in a letter, in a bill, in an email, social media, word of mouth, etc.
So basically the answer is no. So that, okay, this.
I wouldn't say the answer is no. The answer is I'll look into it and see if there's any further reminders. But I do believe that is the what's the word? Hang on a minute.
Okay. Sorry,
yeah, sorry, I've just gone completely blank.
Okay.
All I wanted to do was point out the fact that the envelopes in a lot of situations are destroyed, okay. Whereas it might have been a better idea to have them in a non-permeable membrane. Thank you.
Thanks, David. Louise.
Can I just ask what work is going on between the waste team and the community service, the incoming comms team? If you've got people who don't want to use a computer, they're perhaps digitally excluded, they want to ring up and say, I haven't got my blue bin. I tried to ring on option 3 on Tuesday, and it took half an hour for the phone to be answered. I know a lot of people who say they can't get through at all. So what's going on so that the people who are answering the phones are working with the waste team? Because it's no point having the comms out there and wanting people to contact you if they can't do it.
I think that's going to be the key thing with that, is the volume of calls. If a lot of people are calling up because I haven't got my blue bin yet, or a general servicing any way of having an issue, or because they're digitally excluded, the only option they have is to ring up, then we are going to have a larger number of people calling, which then means that we've got people generally waiting longer to get through. There isn't really much else to. Unfortunately, I can't make any sort of like major changes in that, except that some people are going to find themselves being on the phone for a little bit longer to get the call through, much like with anything else when there's a large call volume to any company, organisation, or trying to make an appointment or anything like that. When it's a time when it's busier, it takes longer to speak to people. I've lost count the amount of times I've been on the phone for longer than necessary for doing something else that's got nothing to do with bins. And I do understand that it's a bit of it's irritating, it is, but at the moment whilst we're working through everything and working and trying to provide the service, and we've got a larger call volume, it is something that is going to happen. More people calling means more people end up waiting for a bit longer. Yeah.
Can I come back on that? Of course you can. Obviously, when we have elections and things like that, we have a lot of staff members who volunteer that, they use their time counting votes instead of their normal job. Perhaps when we reach the switchover, perhaps we should have a situation like that where we have emergency people answering the phone if the call volume is going to be that big. I don't know whether that's something that's feasible, if we've got the call line capacity to do it, but
I can ask. I'll always ask if it's something that's feasible. But I also know that it's one of those things where sometimes the seemingly simplest answer turns out to not be the simplest answer at all. But I will ask, and I will find out if that is something that is an option.
Okay, thank you. Paul?
Yeah, thanks. I was going to echo Councillor Strong's excellent idea earlier on, because a number of people have come to me and said, they haven't got a bin, but they don't know whether they should have done because they didn't know if Nebworth was finished. So, and I guess the issue, just back to what Louise was saying, is if the message is wait until the end of July and then raise an issue if you haven't got a bin, you're going to get a deluge. We get a deluge of people. All the people then will declare I haven't got a bin, and A, the call centres won't open, B, we won't be able to get all the bins to people. So I'm just thinking if there's any way we can get the team to push out, even if it's telling councillors and telling clerks of parish councils, your area has been done, so anybody that's got an issue needs to raise it now. We should smooth out the flow of issues from now until August. So it'd be really, I think that's quite important to just think about how we help with the load. We don't know how many people are going to have issues. So.
I think it's an excellent idea.
Okay, thank you. Amy, I'd like to ask a few questions, if I may. We've got some bin deniers out there at the moment. A bin denier is somebody who doesn't want the blue lidded bin, and it sits on said pavement for weeks on end. And I've got about 5 in one street in my little parish that I look after. What do we do? Because it's going to become a fly tipping issue, or a bin that sitteth there until the end of time. I've moved it back onto the property, all 5 of them. They keep reappearing, but some people don't want to do it. What are the powers that we have to make these people recycle? Because I know it's something that's quite pertinent out there, because people are quite angry about the amount of bins. And what I'm seeing in the parishes, especially, terraced housing, they don't want the bin, and it sits on the pavement, and the bin is becoming an obstruction in itself. So is there a system in place where the bin can be recollected, or we're not doing that, or the bin's got to stay there? It's a question that's quite valid, actually, and what's going on. And the other question was, if I may, I've had quite a few emails into me about missed collections. Would it be a suggestion that the Ubasa email address is removed, because people are still emailing into Ubasa and it's not Ubasa, and they're getting quite irate with me? I think maybe better comms that it's the waste and recycling at northherts.gov.uk. I'm getting quite a bit of noise from people that they're trying to phone. If they can't phone, let's have the right email address. But a few are still emailing Ubasa. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Graziano. I will just, so if people have still got the old oh, hang on, let me just do this in order of which you've actually asked. The bin deniers, that's a new one. I like that. The powers that be is going to be that the waste streams that we collect are changing, and they have changed and are changing because of legislation changes. And there is now a fibre bin, which is your cardboard and your paper, which means the cardboard and paper going together. The whole point of the blue lidded bin was it was replacing the blue box, which takes up generally the same amount of space on the floor. Granted, it's taller, but it takes up roughly the same amount of space on the floor. The recycling bin that people already had, which was for all dry recycling, is now going to be only glass, metal and plastic. So if people continue to put cardboard into that bin from the 4th of August, it's going to be classed as contaminated recycling, and it won't be emptied because it's contaminated, because we have to have the streams separate now. I do appreciate that some people don't like change. I'm neurodivergent. I'm not keen on change myself unless it's for very good reasons. And it's a process that, you know, we all sort of generally work through. And of course, I've been working through it with this contract change and everything we've been trying to do for years now. So it's a case of learning and doing and working with it. I sympathise with people who are lacking with some space. I myself live in a terrace property, and we're going to shuffle things around to make the space in the garden, but kind of begin to tell you how excited I am that I am going to be able to put soft plastics into my recycling bin and not have to have a bag under the table full of soft plastics to take to the supermarket every other week. So that is going to be a big change and a key part of the recycling stream as well. I guess that is probably where all the soggy envelopes are coming from now that Councillor Barnard referred to, if people are refusing to take their bin in or acknowledge it, which means that they will no longer have the some of the information available to them within the letter, but the stickers should be fine. I think it's going to be a case of maybe people aren't particularly interested in dealing with it until the time comes. We've still got 6 weeks until the changes will actually start. So maybe people are just not really acknowledging it. But I'd happily help you, Joe, with your residents who are feeling frustrated. I come with you and come and have a chat with them if necessary. I think I've reasonably covered that question, if that's okay. Was there anything else you think I've missed there?
I'm with you, and I think the whole council has got to do this for recycling purposes. You know, it's just, you know, I promote it on my social media page all the time, but I get a lot of noise about it. It's my fault, or, you know, it's personal, and I try and explain recycling is good for the planet. It's just, how do we deal with the bin deniers that are out there at the moment? And I think there is a small percentage, but it will create a problem, I think, going forward. It's just one to know, you know, have on the pads.
So there isn't anything set up for, sorry, I've just remembered a point that you made in this original question. There isn't anything set up for people returning the recycling bin, because, as has been experienced in the past, and Veolia brought this up with us as well, as has been experienced in the past years and years ago, they've had an issue where a new bin has been rolled out and a contract not with us. And lots of residents said, I don't want this bin, I don't need this bin. And then the bin ends up being collected through the place of several months after it got delivered. And then about 6 months after that, the emails start coming in. Can I have a recycling bin, please? Can I have this bin, please? And things like that. And then the bins had to go back out again. So it was something that was acknowledged that what we're asking at the very least is that you hang on to the bin and see what your recycling and your waste stream actually becomes with the changes that you've got set in front of you. And I'm confident that with the removal of some items from residual, the introduction of other items into recycling, and the splitting up of the recycling across the 2 full-size bins, these are 240 litre bins, not 180s like the residual, that it is going to be managed. And it's personal experience, and I also know the data backs me up. We are a family of 5. I have a disabled daughter. We have certain needs that mean that we create additional residual waste. We actively do things to create less waste overall and reduce our recycling. But like I said, family of 5, we can cope with the free weekly on the residual, and I do not need a bigger bin, even though our family is actually entitled to it. My purple bin is only about a third full most of the time when it comes to bin day. And that's because of the changes that we've made as a family. It was a removal of soft plastics. I am confident it's something when people actually start making those changes within the way they get rid of their waste with the services, that curbside services that are provided to them, they will find that they can manage. And if they don't manage, especially regarding the residual, then it will be because they fit in one of the 3 categories that we have set aside for those who are eligible for either more capacity or staying on a certain collections round for fortnightly. So yeah, and more than happy to help you, Joe. I know how passionate you are about environment, recycling and everything else involved, and we're more than happy to work with you when it comes to talking to your residents as well.
Thank you, Amy. I'd just like to sum that up basically. Thank you for attending today and giving your presentation. I'm sure Councillor Aaron has taken board all the points that we've raised tonight, and these will get fed into the team. It's really important that we're listening to our communities.
I'm very sorry I wasn't able to answer some of the things off the top of my head. I am struggling to remember all of this information as I also get on top of what is my new brief. But I have written down anything that I can get back to you about, and made some notes on as well. Oh yes, Joe, your other question, emails. It should say Veolia on the website. I will find out if that's correct or not. If people have just still got that email logged, then obviously they need to delete it and then go on to something else. I understand
on
their
the system somewhere, because the recent email still had Ubasa on it, and that was end of May.
It should all be.
And yeah,
it should all be updated on the website. But yes, obviously, again, when it's brought to our attention, we can check. Fix.
Thank you, VJ.
Thanks, Chair. It's not a question, it's just a comment that might go some way to addressing what was said by Councillor Ward and Councillor Strong earlier. We do have an email from Christine Cross from earlier in May giving us an outline, giving councillors an outline of bin delivery dates by location. That might have changed a little, but at least gives us a starting point, and maybe it can be updated for the councillors at least, so then we can keep our residents updated.
Thank you. And Laura?
Yeah, so a follow on to the unclaimed bins. So the bins have not landed in my neck of the woods yet. So I haven't seen this phenomenon, and I'm kind of wondering, it's made me wonder, how do the bins actually get delivered? Right? Do you get, if it's a street of 50 houses, the 50 bins appear somewhere and you'll have to go out and claim one? I'm kind of wondering how you know who's not claimed the bin. That's what I'm wondering.
They all turn up and they just.
Do you want to answer that, Amy? I know on my street they get dropped off outside your property, but
Like
I
one
had
by one by one.
well, I had 3 outside mine, and they sat there for weeks.
That's what I'm wondering.
And I was away, and then I'm trying to sort it out myself, which one went where. So I think the lorry arrives, doesn't it? The wagon, and it drops them off outside. So it's not a science. I think they just drop them off, and then you go and claim your bin. Is that right, Amy?
Basically, yeah, you get 1 bin per household. Okay. 1 bin per household. And yeah, thank you very much, VJ, for the now feeling vindicated regarding the bin deliveries. I knew there was something, but I didn't want to sit here and go, oh yeah, we're definitely doing that, and then I've gone and made a mistake. So yes, so the last of the deliveries going out, we should be reaching the end of the bin deliveries for certain areas. So basically, if it's from this point onwards, if you still haven't had your bin, flag it up. If you've ended up with extra, so I will deal with yours, Councillor Williams. Right, it should hopefully be this week. I do know that there has been some delays with some things because of some technical issues and stuff like that. So I'll find out, because again, like you said, Vijay, this is the previous one that Christine sent out in May, right at the beginning of May. So yes, this isn't the fully updated one. So I can find out how much we're behind and then going on from there. So gosh, it's amazing. As soon as the information in front of me, it's like it all comes flooding back. Yeah, so if we've ended up with extra bins in streets, obviously we want to make sure that everyone's been out and collected it, because we don't want to be taking away the bin that does belong to a household that just has chosen not to go and collect it yet. So they're going to be a beautiful street ornament for a little while, I guess. But then after a certain amount of time, it will be a case of, if you've got too many and every house has got one, and then we can start doing a mop up of collecting the accidental spares. I know there's been some with some of the rounds and the crews, because obviously we've got changes that we're doing. Sometimes the street has ended up with bins when they should have gotten bags, and we've had to go back and collect them and come back with the bags and things like that. So again, the few little snagging and teething issues that we're working with as we get them reported to us and we come across them and everything. So yeah, but no, you get one recycling bin per household, and if there's any spares, we'll be getting them back. And I'll find out if the spreadsheet of deliveries and delivery dates has been updated and circulated amongst councillors as well, before I go jumping on missing bins.
Okay, thank you, Amy. Caroline?
Yes, I just wonder if there's a pack of posters that we can be sent. I know Laura sends us all formats of the Southern Rural so that we can put it on different, Facebook or Instagram or wherever. But if there's a pack of posters regarding the bins, then we can maybe use those to put in council notice boards or online.
Like actual physical posters up in a notice board and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind getting them electronically, or maybe at the next full council there can be one on our desk that we can then take and put in a notice board or make copies or something. But yeah,
I think that's a really lovely idea. I can ask about getting, because obviously we do the printouts and everything and we hand them out at full council. We've got I'm just trying to think. We do have a penciled in full council between now and the kind of summer recess, 19th, isn't it? Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say
6th of 9th, is it the 9th? 16th of June, and there's one in July, and then there's 10th of July, I think. Yeah. So
great.
there's a couple.
So there'll be a couple of opportunities there that we can do that. So if people are up for receiving that, then I can bring it up, because we have been making these posters, and they are like some lovely visuals and everything of what's new for North Hearts, and obviously there's the separate East Hearts one, which isn't relevant to us, but yeah, I
Doug
think,
and I have got there's so many Facebook groups and WhatsApps that we share stuff on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it would be really helpful for our clerk as well to send that out.
The digital posters, we can have them if they haven't already gone out. Again, if they haven't already gone out to the clerks of the contact details we have, then we can do that. I think that's
But
a really
maybe
good
if we can
idea.
go out to all the councillors as well, that would be really helpful.
Again, it wouldn't be surprised me if that's not loaded and ready to go.
I'm sure it is. Just sure it is.
But yeah, but no, you bring it up, and if everyone's all for it, then I can then then that's really positive. So that if it were positively received, yeah, especially for you guys as well, because you're so rural, very helpful. Yeah,
So rural.
so rural.
Okay, if there's no other questions, we'll move on. Thank you, Amy, for your presentation.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Loved it. Okay, I'd now like to ask the Community Partnerships Officer to present.
So there's no sort of further updates other on the community partnership update. The only thing we're going to flag is that it's the Go Vol Hearts Volunteer Fair tomorrow. So I think there's about 25 plus different organisations, hopefully going to gain some traction and some volunteers. It's 10 a.m. and to 3 p.m. tomorrow. If you do have time to come along, I know you're busy, but yeah, it's a great opportunity to see what's out there, and also are there any groups that you can think of and meet the Go Vol Hearts team and connect them and things like that. It's just a good opportunity. But that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. And now I'd like to ask ward members, do we have any updates for the community forum? Paul?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Just one thing from Nebworth, which is a sort of bad and good story. So you may be aware we're lucky enough. We've got a recreation ground with a pavilion in it, on it, that was originally funded actually from joining with the football club and the FA. Unfortunately, there's a bad case this week of vandalism and graffiti all over it, including somewhere else in the village, which I know our clerks, Jodie's here tonight and is working with the police on. But the good news story I just wanted to call out is that just wanted to call him out. A chap called Dan Rowlinson, who's a local window cleaner in the village, got him and his team voluntarily with their time just to come and clean it up, which I thought was fantastic. So just thanks from me and on behalf of the parish council for him and his team for doing that.
Thank you. Anybody else? VJ?
Thanks, Chair. Just shout out for the Great Ashby Community Centre. They are hosting a walk-in market this Saturday from 1 o'clock, so everyone's welcome to attend, and it's one of the first events of this kind in Great Ashby for a number of years, so it's quite a special occasion for our community, so I'd encourage everyone to show up to that.
Thank you. David?
We're doing shout outs. This is just a very quick one. I'd like to shout out for the numerous villages who organise, probably on a monthly basis, community litter picks. They get 20 bags, 20 black bags and many more, as you probably know, Joe. And they work very, very hard in the community. We know it shouldn't be necessary. If McDonald's didn't exist, maybe they wouldn't need to do it.
Thank you, David. And if anybody would like to join me on a monthly litter pick, please email me. Ralph?
Thanks, Chair. As colleagues will know, back in April, the government decided to give the Luton Airport expansion the green light. Now, of course, local government was very much focused on submitting its draft interim proposal to government for reorganisation, as well as the county elections, which preoccupied minds. Ladakhan took the proactive step to engage or start the process to judicial review the decision into granting the development consent order. And I'd just like to highlight that they are crowdfunding to support the efforts for that judicial review. So if you type in to the internet, Luton Airport, Ladakhan, crowdfunding, I'm sure you'll be able to find that and hopefully encourage people to make a donation.
Thank you, Ralph. A few shout outs from me, if I may. There's Breach on the Green this weekend in the village of Breachwood Green. Fun and frolics from 12 o'clock onwards with a fully stocked bar, dog show, bouncy castle, you name it. So if you're free, come and say hello in the parish, Breachwood Green. And I think there's Whitfest in a couple of weeks' time as well in Whitwell at the Bull. So come and support the local community. On another note, I'm also supporting my colleagues at Stop Wandon End. I'll be attending the inquiry, which is going to be held here on the 16th of June. The inspectorate it's gone to appeal. So supporting our local community there. Caroline? It's a 3-day appeal, yes. So if you would like to come along as part of the audience, it's 16th of June for 3 days. Caroline?
Great Wymondley annual summer fete is on the 29th of June. Always a really, really good day. Please come and support if you're around. Thanks.
Thank you. And it's rural surgery this Saturday as well, if you've forgotten, at Hitchin. Thank you very much. Right, now this bit is about audience and members. Any suggestions for future topics for discussion? Louise?
If possible, planning enforcement would be great to have to explain the process.
Okay, thank you. Any other members about future topics to be debated or discussed? Okay, on that note, Ralph?
Thank you. I mean, this might be something a little bit better suited to overview and scrutiny, but it might be useful to get the ICB, or at the very least, maybe the Hitchin GP partnership to come to the committee to sort of talk about healthcare and what's being done to actually ensure that, you know, people who live in the communities that we represent are able to access that healthcare, that primary care provision.
Thank you, Ralph. I'd also like to propose maybe if we get one of the police community officers out again to give us an update on what's going on, because they seem to show up and then disappear for a few months, is another shout. I think if people would like that, just to get an update of what's going on. David?
Yeah, just very quickly, and I'm sorry to come back here. Thank you, Laura, for the little bit on the back there that shows the what our different organisations are doing with our money. But I wonder if it would be an idea for maybe one meeting to invite some of the recipients of our grants to come along and tell us what they've been doing and how they've been spending it and how well it's being used.
Really good shout out. Thank you, David. Okay. Any other questions or for future debates?
I'm just aware that because we don't have a chair for next time, there's sort of no one to sort of confirm the agenda and things like that. Is there sort of a particular topic that you would all like for September to sort of agree upon now in that instance? I'm not be able to decide it for yourself. So if you're able to sort of agree maybe a location, and if you do want a speaker to come, and then we can kind of get that organised. But yeah, normally it's a sort of discussion with the chair and vice chair, but if that's not the case at the moment.
BJ?
Thanks, Chair. Actually, I thought Councillor Monser's suggestion there, if we can organise someone from the ICBs to attend, that might be something of relevance to our communities.
Are we in agreement?
Disputing that?
Okay.
Okay.
Because I'm aware of the difficulties of trying to get the ICBs and, you know, the Hitchin surgeries potentially to the meeting. Obviously, if we can get them, fantastic, but would potentially we be able to have as a backup maybe the planning enforcement team following Councillor Peace's suggestion, because I think that as well would be a really good topic for us to discuss at some point during the year, whether it be at the next meeting or the meeting afterwards.
Agreed upon as well, if you're all happy with that as well, just because otherwise it'll just be sort of mainly grants and agenda.
Laura?
So we happen to have the Great Ashby Community Centre booked on the next date of this meeting, so we'd happily offer that as a venue if people would like to visit Great Ashby.
Sorry, Rebecca. So if it's for the forum, we're happily can book that spot and use sort of the forum budget for that as well. So I don't want to, you know, take over that. I mean, it's completely up to you. We can, you know, if in that sense.
Well, we have an early in the evening surgery, and so it usually goes from 6 to 8, right? So we could have our surgery early, and you could have the bit later on in the evening to do this.
Yeah, but it's, yeah, if everyone's comfortable for the Great Ashby to be the location of the next one, or any thoughts or views.
Very nice takeaways next door to it.
Yeah, that would only be in person. Yeah, that would have been an in-person meeting. It's only hybrid for here, but I can let the chair sort of lead on that a bit more for confirming that. But
If we're happy to do that, let's have a nod. Okay. Agreed.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for tolerating me tonight as your interim chair. I hope I've been okay. I'm going to close the meeting then at 9:03. Thank you very much.